The Galactic Council chamber floated in silence above a dying blue star. The light of the star washed over the curved walls, reflecting on the symbols of dozens of civilizations. Representatives sat in their assigned positions, some with folded limbs, others glowing faintly with their natural light. At the center of the chamber, a massive hologram showed a small blue planet. To the Council it looked insignificant. For many cycles, the Council had watched humanity from a distance. Humans expanded quickly, formed alliances, and refused to submit to galactic authority. They ignored warnings, rejected trade limits, and denied Council inspection fleets. To the older races, this behavior was unacceptable. Councillor Rail of the Virex species spoke first. His voice was calm but heavy with certainty. He said that humans were reckless and dangerous. He claimed that if Earth was not controlled now, it would become a threat later. Other councillors agreed. They spoke of human wars, of their rapid weapon development, of their stubborn independence. They shared reports showing that humans adapted faster than expected. Still, most believed that fear would break them. The solution was simple: a show of force. The Supreme Council speaker called for a vote. The proposal was clear: send a massive fleet to Earth, crush their defenses, and force unconditional surrender. Not total destruction. Just enough pain to ensure obedience. The vote passed with overwhelming support. The order was issued. A fleet of 9,700 warships would attack Earth. Across the galaxy, shipyards came alive. Warships of every size prepared for battle. Cruisers, carriers, and heavy destroyers formed long lines near jump gates. Commanders spoke confidently to their crews. Many believed this mission would bring honor. Earth to them was nothing more than a lesson. Meanwhile, far away in the Sol system, Earth moved quietly. Deep space sensors detected distortions at the edge of known space. The readings were impossible to hide. Someone was coming. And they were coming in great numbers. Admiral Kong Day 1 stood inside the command center beneath Earth's surface. Large screens showed streams of data, trajectories, and energy readings. He did not raise his voice. He did not show fear. He simply watched. Around him, officers waited for orders. Commander Han Se-rin reviewed the projections. The numbers made her pause. Even with everything humanity had, the fleet was larger than anything they had faced before. She asked the question everyone was thinking. Could they win? Admiral Kong answered calmly. Humanity was not fighting to win. Humanity was fighting to survive. Across Earth, preparations began without announcement. Cities powered down non-essential systems. Civilian ships were ordered to hide in deep ocean bays and underground docks. Satellites shifted positions. Old defense platforms, once thought obsolete, came online. Humanity did not broadcast threats. They did not demand peace. They waited. As the alien fleet entered the outer edge of the solar system, their commanders sent messages demanding surrender. They promised mercy if Earth complied. They promised destruction if it did not. Earth gave no reply. The silence unsettled some of the alien officers, but most ignored it. To them, silence meant fear. The fleet advanced in perfect formation. On Earth, Admiral Kong gave a single order: hold position. Human warships remained hidden. Weapons stayed cold. The planet looked unprotected. The Galactic Council watched the live feed from their chamber. Confidence spread among them. The humans had chosen submission or they had accepted their end. Neither assumption was correct. As the alien fleet moved closer, Commander Han Se-rin noticed small details. Formation rigidity. Predictable spacing. Overconfidence. The enemy believed numbers alone would win the war. Humans had learned long ago that numbers meant nothing without understanding. Admiral Kong allowed the fleet to cross the final threshold. Only then did he speak again. Prepare response. Across space, systems activated. Gravity wells shifted. Silent human warships began to move from shadows where no scanner could see them. The trap was set. And the war for Earth was about to begin. Earth did not answer the alien demands. Minutes passed, then hours. The alien fleet continued its advance toward the inner solar system, confident that fear had taken hold. To them, silence meant weakness. On Earth, silence meant focus. Deep beneath the surface, command centers worked without pause. Screens showed the movement of thousands of enemy warships. Their paths were clean, sharp, and predictable. Admiral Kong Day 1 stood at the center of the main room, his hands behind his back. He watched the fleet grow larger with each update. Commander Han Se-rin moved between stations, checking reports. She spoke quietly, giving short instructions. Every officer knew their task. There was no shouting, no panic. Humanity had faced extinction before, many times in its own history. This was just another moment where survival demanded calm. Across the planet, hidden systems awakened. Old orbital platforms rotated into position. Some had not moved in over 100 years. Their hulls were scarred and dull, but their cores were powerful. Newer defense stations powered up silently, their energy signatures masked. In deep oceans, massive structures rose slowly from the dark. They broke the surface only for moments before locking into firing position. From the outside, Earth still looked defenseless. Civilian evacuation was already complete. Underground cities sealed their gates. Space elevators shut down. The planet prepared itself like a living thing drawing in its breath. In orbit, Captain Lee Do-hyun sat inside the bridge of a human warship that officially did not exist. His ship remained hidden inside a folded gravity pocket. To alien sensors there was nothing there. Lee listened to the steady hum of the engines. His crew waited, hands ready, eyes fixed forward. They did not speak unless necessary. Each of them understood what failure meant. Human intelligence systems analyzed the alien fleet constantly. Artificial minds learned their patterns, shield frequencies, and communication delays. Every second made the human response sharper. The alien commanders noticed nothing. As the fleet reached Mars orbit, they paused to reorganize. Massive carriers released fighter wings in perfect rows. Command ships moved to the center, surrounded by layered defenses. It was a beautiful formation. It was also a mistake. Commander Han noticed the same thing Admiral Kang had already seen. The enemy believed this was a parade, not a war. They were showing power instead of hiding weakness. She sent her analysis to the Admiral. He nodded once. Hold. The order spread across all human forces. On the Galactic Council's viewing platform, counselors watched the feed with growing satisfaction. The human world remained quiet. No weapons fired. No fleets appeared. Some counselors laughed softly. Counselor Rail spoke again. He said the humans had chosen surrender through fear. He said the Council's decision was correct. Still, a few counselors felt uneasy. Earth's silence was too complete. Back in the solar system, the alien fleet resumed its advance. Long-range weapons locked onto Earth's orbit. Power levels increased. The first strike was prepared. Admiral Kang raised his hand. Wait. Commander Han looked at him, surprised. The enemy was in perfect firing position. Every instinct said to strike first. The Admiral spoke calmly. Not yet. Let them commit. Seconds passed. The alien fleet fired. Energy beams crossed space toward Earth's outer defenses. Explosions lit the void as abandoned platforms were destroyed. The alien commanders celebrated. Their weapons worked exactly as planned. They did not realize those platforms were empty. As the alien fleet moved closer, confident and loud, human systems recorded everything. Shield timings. Weapon cooldowns. Command signal delays. Then Admiral Kang gave the second order. Activate Phase 1. Space changed. Gravity twisted without warning. Entire sections of space folded inward. Alien warships near the front suddenly lost formation as invisible forces crushed and pulled them apart. Hulls bent. Shields failed. Ships collided. Panic spread instantly. Before the alien commanders could respond, human warships emerged from hidden positions. Hundreds appeared at once, striking from angles the enemy could not predict. Captain Lee Do-hyun gave the firing order. Human weapons were quiet but devastating. Precision strikes disabled engines, weapons, and command bridges. Some ships vanished completely, swallowed by controlled gravity collapses. The alien fleet tried to regroup, but confusion ruled. Their formations, once perfect, shattered. Earth had not revealed everything. This was only the beginning. Admiral Kang watched the battle unfold. His face remained calm, but his eyes were sharp. Humanity had stepped onto the battlefield at last, and the galaxy was about to learn a painful lesson. The sudden human attack shattered the calm of space. Alien commanders struggled to understand what was happening. Their sensors showed impossible readings. Gravity spikes appeared where nothing should exist. Communication channels filled with overlapping orders and panicked reports. The Galactic Fleet had trained for war but not for this. Human warships moved with controlled precision. They did not rush. They did not chase targets blindly. Each ship followed a calculated path, striking weak points and disappearing again. To the alien crews, it felt like fighting an enemy that could not be seen until it was too late. Captain Lee Do-hyun watched the battlefield from his command chair. He spoke softly, issuing short commands. His ship shifted position inside folded space, appearing behind an enemy cruiser. A single controlled burst collapsed the cruiser's engine core. The alien ship drifted helplessly, its crew alive but powerless. Lee ordered no follow-up shot. Disabled ships were no longer a threat. Across the battlefield, other human captains followed the same rule. Eliminate danger. Waste nothing. Alien formations broke apart. Command ships tried to regain control, but human strikes targeted communication hubs first. Without coordination, entire wings collided or fired blindly into empty space. Some alien commanders attempted retreat. Their jump drives failed as human gravity fields disrupted space itself. Escape routes collapsed before they could form. Commander Han Se-rin monitored the battle from Earth. Data flowed faster than human minds could process, but AI systems filtered it instantly. She watched casualty numbers climb on the enemy side. Thousands of warships were already gone. She felt no joy. Humanity had learned long ago that survival wars were never victories. They were simply endings delayed. The Galactic Council watched the battle unfold in growing horror. Confidence turned to disbelief. Counselor Rail demanded explanations from Fleet Command. None came. Live feeds showed alien ships tearing themselves apart under forces they could not understand. Smaller vessels vanished without explosion, simply erased from space. Some counselors called for immediate retreat. Others still believed numbers would win. In the battlefield, the alien fleet attempted a desperate tactic. Massive carriers released all remaining fighters in a chaotic swarm. Tens of thousands of small ships rushed toward Earth, hoping to overwhelm defenses through sheer volume. Admiral Kong anticipated the move. Phase 2 was already ready. Earth's orbital platforms powered up fully for the first time. Long-range defense grids activated in perfect synchronization. Energy pulses spread outward like waves. Alien fighters flew straight into invisible walls of force. Entire squadrons were stopped, crushed, or burned away. The swarm dissolved in seconds. Those that survived turned back in panic, colliding with their own retreating ships. Captain Lee's ship took light damage as debris struck its shields. He ignored it and ordered a shift to support another human vessel under heavy fire. His ship appeared between the enemy and the damaged ally, absorbing the attack before neutralizing the threat. Human ships protected each other without hesitation. The alien fleet did not understand this. Their doctrine focused on individual honor and command hierarchy. Human doctrine focused on collective survival. As hours passed, the scale of destruction became clear. What had been a massive invading force was now a scattered collection of burning wrecks and drifting hulks. Alien commanders sent surrender signals. Some begged for ceasefire. Others demanded negotiation. Earth did not answer. Admiral Kong allowed no response yet. The enemy still had weapons. The enemy still posed a risk. The humans pressed forward. Human warships advanced deeper into the alien fleet, forcing it inward. Every movement was controlled, every strike measured. The goal was not revenge. The goal was certainty. Certainty that the threat would never return. On the council chamber, silence returned, heavier than before. Counselors stared at the destruction in disbelief. The vote they once celebrated now felt like a death sentence. Counselor Rail finally understood his mistake. Humans were not weak. They had simply been waiting. As another wave of alien warships fell, Admiral Kong gave a new order. Begin containment. The battle was no longer a defense. It was an ending. The battlefield no longer looked like an organized war. It looked like a storm that had already passed and left only ruin behind. Wrecked alien warships drifted through space, their lights flickering or completely dark. Energy fires burned without sound, spreading slowly across broken hulls. Human warships moved through the debris with care. They did not rush. Sensors scanned every drifting object, every fading signal. Nothing dangerous was allowed to remain unnoticed. The alien fleet was collapsing. What remained of its command structure tried desperately to survive. Small groups of ships attempted to form defensive circles. Others fled in random directions, hoping to escape the invisible human traps. Most failed. Gravity fields shifted again and again, cutting off retreat paths. Space itself seemed to betray the invaders. Jump drives misfired or tore ships apart. Panic replaced discipline. Captain Lee Du-hyun watched an alien destroyer attempt to flee. Its engines flared brightly, pushing far beyond safe limits. For a moment it almost escaped. Then space folded. The ship vanished in a silent collapse. Lee exhaled slowly and gave new coordinates. There was no celebration on his bridge. Only focus. On Earth, Commander Han Se-rin followed the battle with tired eyes. The numbers no longer shocked her. The enemy losses were beyond counting. Entire fleets that once filled the stars were gone. Human losses were minimal. She felt the weight of that fact more than pride. Admiral Kang Day-1 stood beside her. He had not left the command center since the battle began. He understood what this moment meant. Humanity was showing the galaxy something it could never take back. Power always left scars. Across the galaxy, the Galactic Council chamber was silent. No one argued anymore. No one laughed. The massive hologram of the battlefield showed the truth clearly. The Council had made a terrible mistake. Counselor Rail stared at the display. His confidence was gone. His voice, once strong, now sounded weak when he spoke. He asked if surrender was still possible. No one answered him. Messages from the fleet arrived in broken fragments. Distress calls. Final words. Descriptions of weapons that ignored shields and crushed ships like fragile shells. One message repeated again and again. The humans do not stop. Back in the solar system, the remaining alien ships tried one last coordinated move. A small group of surviving command vessels gathered what forces they could and aimed directly at Earth. It was a desperate gamble. If they could strike the planet itself, maybe they could force negotiations. Admiral Kang saw the move immediately. He did not raise his voice. Activate final perimeter. Earth responded. Defense platforms aligned perfectly around the planet. Energy fields overlapped, forming a layered shield that shimmered faintly against the darkness of space. The remaining alien ships fired everything they had. The attacks never reached the surface. Human counterfire was precise and absolute. The alien ships were destroyed before they could break through the outer layers. Only fragments remained. The last organized resistance ended there. After that, the battlefield grew quiet. Human warships slowed their advance. Scans confirmed what everyone already knew. The enemy fleet no longer existed as a fighting force. Small signals appeared on the edges of the battlefield. A few alien ships had managed to survive by hiding among wreckage or shutting down all systems. They did not attack. They did not move. They waited. Admiral Kang considered them carefully. He understood fear. He understood survival. He gave a final order. Cease fire. Human weapons powered down. The silence that followed felt heavier than the battle itself. Space was filled with debris and quiet desperation. Captain Lee lowered his guard slightly, though his ship remained ready. He looked at the stars ahead and wondered how many civilizations were watching this moment. On Earth, Commander Han removed her gloves and rested her hands on the console. The battle was over. But the consequences were only beginning. In the Galactic Council chamber, a new truth settled over everyone present. Earth had not just defended itself. Earth had rewritten the balance of power. And the galaxy would never forget what happened when it tried to break humanity. The silence after the battle felt unreal. Space around Earth was filled with broken ships and drifting metal, but no weapons fired. No alarms sounded. Human warships held their positions, watching carefully, ready to act if needed. Out of 9,700 alien warships, only a few signals still moved. 18. Those ships stayed far from Earth. Their systems were damaged, their crews exhausted and terrified. They did not try to hide anymore. They did not try to fight. They only moved slowly away from the battlefield, afraid that any sudden action would bring death. Admiral Kang Day-1 watched their retreat from the command center. The numbers were clear. The war was over. He felt no joy. Victory like this was never something to celebrate. Commander Han Se-rin stood beside him. She asked the question that had been forming in many minds. Should they destroy the remaining ships? Admiral Kang thought for a long moment. Then he shook his head. Let them go. The order surprised some officers, but no one argued. Humanity had already sent its message. Those 18 ships would carry it farther than any weapon could. Captain Lee Du-hyun received the ceasefire confirmation on his bridge. He watched as the alien ships slowly turned and escaped toward deep space. He wondered what stories their crews would tell. Fear, he hoped. Not hatred. On Earth, cities slowly returned to life. Lights came back on. Underground gates opened. Civilian ships emerged from hiding. People looked up at the sky, knowing something terrible had passed just beyond their world. Governments released limited information. There was no celebration. No parades. Only quiet acknowledgement that humanity still existed. Deep in space, the 18 surviving alien ships fled. Their crews were broken. Many had watched entire fleets disappear in moments. They had seen weapons that ignored shields and gravity that crushed ships like paper. They had heard calm human voices over open channels, giving orders without anger. That frightened them more than rage ever could. When the survivors reached the edge of Council-controlled space, they transmitted everything. Battle data. sensor recordings, personal accounts. The Galactic Council received it all. The chamber filled again, but this time there was no argument. No pride. Only fear and shame. Counselor Rail stood before the others, his posture heavy. He accepted responsibility for the decision to attack Earth. His voice shook as he spoke of the loss. 9,700 warships. Gone. The council listened to the survivor reports in silence. They saw the precision of human tactics. The restraint. The efficiency. The refusal to respond to surrender until the threat was completely gone. One truth became impossible to deny. Humans were not violent by nature. They were careful. The council voted again. This time the decision was unanimous. Earth was declared forbidden territory. No fleets would approach it. No demands would be made. No council authority would be enforced there. Humanity would be left alone. The decree spread quickly across the galaxy. Traders changed routes. Explorers marked Earth space as dangerous. Military academies rewrote their doctrines. A new rule became common knowledge. Do not threaten humans. Back on Earth, Admiral Kong met with global leaders. He spoke honestly. Humanity would not chase power. It would not seek revenge. But it would never again allow itself to be cornered. Earth's defenses would remain active. Always. Commander Han returned home after the war. She stood on a balcony and looked at the stars. For the first time, she wondered how many eyes were now watching Earth with fear instead of curiosity. Captain Lee Du-hyun's ship returned to its hidden dock. The crew rested, though sleep came slowly. They had survived, but they knew the cost of what they had shown the universe. Humanity had revealed its teeth. Far away, the 18 surviving alien ships disappeared into the dark, carrying stories that would shape generations. They spoke of a quiet planet that did not boast. A species that did not shout. A species that waited. The galaxy learned a final lesson. Humanity did not seek war. But when war came to Earth, humanity answered with certainty. And that certainty would echo across the stars forever.